What's going on, everyone, and welcome into another episode of Wizards Latest. I'm your host, Ben Robertson, and yeah, let's talk about that NBA Cup action against the Cavs. I'll give you my player of the game, and no, today it's not Alex Sarr, but we're going to talk about him too. We'll jump into the comment section from yesterday's video. Make sure you're consistently down in that comment section. Pretty good chance your comments and thoughts will be chatted out here on the show. I appreciate all the support here on the road to 1K. Make sure you hit those like and subscribe buttons. Doesn't only help the page, but makes me feel a little bit better about myself. And thank you guys for tuning in here every single weekday. And of course, we got a little weekend Wizards latest content for you. But let's jump into that NBA Cup matchup. And I said on yesterday's video that I thought the Wizards would at least keep this game close, if not actually get their first in-season tournament win since its inception. And boy, does that look silly now. 148-114 was the final score. I will say, didn't realize, or we didn't know yet, that Keyshawn George was going to be out of the lineup. It came out a little bit after yesterday's episode was dropped that he was questionable. And then, of course, we found out that he wasn't playing. And when you look at that starting five, Trey Johnson, Bub, CJ, Alex Sarr, Chris Middleton, that's not exactly a lineup conducive to winning. It's not exactly a lineup conducive to defensive success, even with Sarr in the middle. I think now for the 8th out of 9 tries here this season, the Wizards giving up more than 119 points. And again, that almost 150 last night against Cleveland. But I was kind of hoping that, and the reason I made that prediction, sort of my train of thought, was that the Wizards coming off 3 straight, the losing streak that they're trying to break already, and then you've added in 3 straight really tough second halves. I just thought maybe the team would wake up a little bit, find some life, and also it would be sort of used as a litmus test, kind of a little bit more leash given to Brian Keefe and co. as a coaching staff, sort of with their rotations, with the lineup. And without Keyshawn George, and we knew Bilal Coulibaly, wasn't going to be playing, but then you throw in Keyshawn George on top of that, and you don't really give Brian Keefe the chance to do it. I know this team, of course, we always talk about the rebuild. We understand what they're trying to do here this year, but even that lineup is without Keyshawn, without Bilal, even the Wizards, for this year, that's not their full strength, their full capability. And defensively, without these two guys, you're not shocked that there were some struggles, especially when you're playing essentially a 3-guard lineup with an aging Chris Middleton. I mean, that's just not. You're not expecting to get a whole bunch of stops. Now, I'll give you my player of the game, and it's a guy that I've seen getting his flowers, and deservedly so. 11 boards is the reason why for Justin Champagnie, standing at 6'5", finishes with 6 points in the game as well. Just another effort where he shows off just his energy, his activity. Kind of makes you question why he was playing so little at the beginning of the year. I know it wasn't a big scoring performance, only 1 of 6 there from the floor, but Justin, a guy that I'm not going to go get as excited about as I've seen maybe elsewhere on Wizards Twitter after this performance, but I do think just does all of the little things right, and a great player that hopefully you can see stick around here for a while. Like his performance, but frankly, it's a player of the game from a lackluster night from a bunch of guys. I know CJ McCollum kind of kept the team afloat there, and he was my thought to give out the player of the game too. He had the 25 points, 6 3-pointers, 8 of 16 from the floor, kind of got himself back going. Really, I mean, they were calling it a bounce back on the broadcast. It's one of the best performances, the best performance of his season so far. It's just not exciting for me to talk about CJ, frankly. I know we're supposed to be nice to him now. I know he's, buddies with Darren Peterson, and I don't say we should be mean to CJ McCollum or anything like that. I know his mentorship and his value, blah, 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 all that great stuff. However, I just don't really, when he's the guy running, I would just rather watch other players on this young Wizards team than him jacking shots. And unless you're going to get some great trade value back for him, which the way he started off the year doesn't really look like. Now, if he keeps playing like this, you just might. But I don't know. That doesn't really fire me up. But I like the performance from Champagnie. Now I'm going to talk about the guy I really want to chat about here today, and that's Alex Sarr. Just so impressive. this year as a whole. And once again, I thought so last night. 20 points for him. Only finished with 4 boards, 4 assists, but the 4 rejections as well. 10 of 17 from the floor. And the fact that he gets to 20 points and he goes 0 of 4 from the 3-point line, and just look the way physically he was able to match up with Jared Allen, Evan Mobley, and especially Allen, just so much better than he was last year. He just looks the part this season. He looks like an NBA center. He's putting kind of to bed a lot of the noise, honestly, that he's actually not a center in this league. He's more of a power forward, more of a four-man. And frankly, after last year, after what we saw from his game, he looked kind of like that. But this year, he's established himself as an inside-out, legit big. I saw a crazy stat with Sarr coming into last night's game. He was by far and away leading the NBA in shots defended within 6 feet of the rim, and it was by more than like 30 shots than the second place. Sarr was up in the 90s, and the second place was in the 60s, and then second, third, fourth, fifth, all really close to each other. Sarr had a huge gap, and what that tells you is essentially what I talked about with that lineup. Again, when you have Trey, CJ, and Bub in your starting five, and Chris Middleton as well, and I realize that hasn't been the lineup throughout the year, but when you look at last night, you just can't expect a whole bunch of excellent perimeter defending, to be quite honest. Really, I mean, Bub Carrington, I mean, maybe your best wing or perimeter, not perimeter wing up top, whatever you want to call it, defender of that mix. Obviously, Bub's going to be a little bit up top more. But again, when you take out Keyshawn and Bilal out of the mix defensively, I mean, you're just asking a lot of Sarr, and it feels like there's just kind of just free drivers into the lane at will right now, and Sarr's just trying his best inside there to contest things. And then obviously, once you kind of get into the lane, you get that drive and kick game going, and that's why you see, I mean, teams just bombing away from 3-point land against the Wizards. 23s from Cleveland last night, 20 of 45 from 3-point land. But again, I really like the performance from Alex Sarr and just so impressed with what he has been able to do so far this young season. Again, has just really looked like, I mean, a different player in a whole bunch of different ways from last year. Shown some of, some of the things he flashed maybe at times last year. He's just really putting all together. Again, young season, long way for him to go. But I want to talk about the comment section from yesterday's video. Make sure you drop your reaction here today. Of course, I don't have it pulled up, so you've probably heard my voice talking here behind the camera just for a second. But I hope you guys are enjoying this segment of the show, relatively new ad. And again, I hope you guys are appreciating, getting your thoughts heard here on the page. Drop your thoughts from that Wizards-Cavs matchup down for me below as well. Remember, Wizards right back at it against Dallas here tomorrow night. We're not going to have a Sunday edition of Wizards Latest. We'll be back at it Monday, getting ready for Detroit, and then, of course, reaction on Tuesday. Tony M67 says, I hope Bilal injury doesn't keep him out for too long. I believe he's just having bad luck. He's a freak of nature, and I would really like to see what the Wizards have with him. And what's frustrating right now with Bilal Coulibaly is that we're not even, that last line you said, we're not even getting to see what he is here, this season, and what he's, the progress that he's been able to make in that jump season, the Wizards always talk about. And it feels like these injuries now just keeping on off the court, again, aren't allowing just that development that he really needs to put in. And again, now it's been his first and second years cut short by injury, and now his start of year 3 clearly being hampered by it. And again, I mean, Bilal's right there on my shoulder. I would love the guy, a top 10 pick, a player that going into year 2, there was just so much excitement about. I would love to feel that way about him again, but just not being on the court and not being available is hurting that right now. McDaddy Cheesebread says Isaiah Collier is out of the rotation in Utah. Let's scoop him up. Good thought there. And remember, we're always chatting about rumors around the league here as well. And if you're still in the camp that you think that CJ McCollum could get traded. He could have some value here this year. Honestly, I think I might be out on Chris Middleton in that regard. But if you still think CJ could get traded, let me know maybe some ideas for, that type of talk that you think might arise as the deadline gets a little bit closer. I know Dispo was at that Boston game the other night that Bilal got hurt in, and he's a big Bilal fan. His comment actually kind of cracked me up. He said, "My friends were like, you made Bilal nervous," and he gave me a little laugh there. I know you're a big Bilal fan. Also, appreciate the compliment there in terms of great video. And he also says, "I think it's a learning lesson for my guy Bilal how to avoid injury with these kinds of situations hit him, because I think it was either Brown or Derek White. I remember he talking about diving for the loose ball, and that's where Bilal got hurt. And he's just got to practice avoiding collisions and reducing the damage with falls like that." Again, that was something I don't know if is that something you can really work on, but I do think it's fair to say with this Wizards training staff, are we doing something wrong with Bilal Coulibaly? Like, is there a reason we can't keep him on the court? Or again, is it just a slew of bad luck? Probably lean towards the latter, but he's got to figure something out, right? Because he's got to be on the basketball court to really improve and really to reach his potential. Last one here, Light Agent One. And I believe this was on the Bilal Coulibaly discussion. Says, "I think the podcasts are just overreacting for clicks." And I mean, I don't think that saying Bilal Coulibaly can't stay on the court is an overreaction right now, because right now he can't do that. He hasn't been in the lineup for most of this year, and I would like to see it from him so we can really know what he is in year 3. But right now, we just haven't had that. But I'll keep you posted on everything Wizards related. Remember, back at it Monday. Make sure you're tuning in every single weekday. Make sure you're consistently down in that comment section. If you've gotten this far and you haven't hit the like and subscribe buttons already, please do so. And guys, thanks for watching another episode of Wizards Latest.